Hello and welcome students. Today I am going to deliver a lecture on biscuits and its various aspects. In this chapter, we will discuss the following objectives. Number 1, Introduction to biscuit. Number 2, biscuit production and Indian scenario. Number 3, ingredients for the biscuits. Number 4, classification of biscuits based on method. Number 5, steps in biscuit making. Number 6, processing and conditioning of biscuits. Number 7, types of biscuits. Let me begin with the introduction. Biscuits are cereal-based products and baked in such a way to have a moisture content of less than 5%. Biscuit pronounced according to the old spelling biscuit, a French form from Latin bis meaning twice and coctum meaning cooked, in reference to original method of preparation. Biscuit is made in thin cakes of various shapes and baked as crisp and short. Biscuits are oven-baked food items with greater nutritive value than plain bread of equal weight. They are classified as hard, soft, and bitter biscuits. They can be savory, sweet, plain, baked, filled, or coated, or a mixture of several of these options. Some biscuits satisfy special dietary needs such as those for high fiber, protein, or extra vitamins, as in infant rusks. Biscuits also contain fat and often sugar and are cut or molded into thin layers and baked rapidly and thoroughly. If packed in a moisture-proof material, biscuits can have a long shelf life. Biscuits are largely consumed by children and teenagers. The raw material chiefly used in biscuit manufacture is flour, but may contain many other substances such as butter, sugar, salt, various flavoring essences. The flour used by the biscuit makers differs from the bread. The flour for bread should have absorption with considerable proportions of water and loaf with good texture and volume. For biscuits, flour strength is not considered crucial. Commercially, different kinds of biscuits are made, ranging from plain water biscuits to the fancy biscuits glistering in sugar and piping. Now let's try to discuss about biscuit production and Indian scenario. Biscuits are very popular food items. They are pleasant in taste and do not require cooking and hence ready to be served. The local demand for biscuits in India is met both by domestic production and imports. In addition to the domestic production, biscuits are imported as well as exported by India. Biscuit is processed wheat product which has found acceptability in rural areas in our country. The raw material for biscuits are flour, sugar, and shortening. For protein-enriched biscuits, say flour or peanut flour or protein isolate can be added at 15 to 25% levels to provide 10% extra protein. Other ingredients include leavening agents, vitamins, minerals, and flavors. In sweet biscuits, cane sugar is added, while in salty biscuits, sodium chloride 0.1 to 1% is added. Composition for sweet and salty biscuits varies in different kinds of biscuits. The oven used for biscuit baking is quite different from bread oven. It's much longer with sets of chains. These chains have special attachments on which the trays of biscuits are rested and passed through the oven for baking. Now let's discuss the ingredients for the biscuits. There are three major ingredients in biscuits, which are wheat flour, fat, and sugar. To these ingredients, various small ingredients is added as leavening, flavor, and texture. Number 1, wheat flour. The principal ingredient of biscuit is wheat flour. The wheat flour is composed of carbohydrate as starch, protein, and fat, together with some fiber, ash, and trace minerals and vitamins. The formation of the gluten, strength, and elasticity is determined by flour specification, recipe, and the mixing processes. Wheat flour contains proteins including gliadin and glutenin. In the presence of water, these proteins combine to form gluten. The gluten forms an elastic web which gives the dough strength and transforms into a thin sheet for crackers and hard sweet biscuits. Shorter mixing time results in less development of gluten strands, resulting in biscuits with shorter texture. Starch from wheat flour is insoluble in water. However, the starch granules absorb limited amount of water in the dough and swell. In normal baked products, only partial gelatinization occurs. The gelatinization of the starch contributes to the rigidity and texture of the biscuit. As the starch gel is heated, further dextrinization occurs. This contributes to the coloring of the biscuit. In soft dough products, the high sugar and fat content of the dough inhibits starch gelatinization. With high sugar and fat recipes, the dough has a low gel viscosity and strength. This produces short, soft biscuits and cookies. Many times corn flour is used in combination with wheat flour. Corn flour is a white, free-flowing powder produced by wet milling of maize, followed by washing, concentrating, centrifuging, drying, milling and sifting to give a natural maize starch. It has a short gel texture, relatively high viscosity, easily dispersible in cold water. The protein in corn flour does not form gluten, thus used as an ingredient to produce a more tender biscuit with reduced gluten development. Number 2. Sugar. Common sugar, that is sucrose, is a carbohydrate derived from cane sugar or sugar beet. Sugar is used in biscuit formulations in a granulated or powder form. Sugar gives sweetness, but it is also important in developing the texture of biscuit. Dissolved sugar tends to inhibit starch gelatinization and gluten formation and creates a biscuit with a more tender texture. Undissolved sugar crystals give a crunchy, crisp texture. Sugar crystals, which melt during baking, cooling to a non-crystalline glass-like state, which gives a crispy, crunchy texture, particularly on sugar-topped biscuits. Other reducing sugars are included in biscuit formulation in syrup form, for example, glucose syrup, malt extracts, honey, etc. The reducing sugars in the presence of amino acids produces the Maillard reaction, which contributes to the color of the biscuit. Number 3. Vegetable fat and butter. Fats are vitally important ingredients in achieving the texture, mouthfeel and the bite of the biscuit. The fats are produced from good quality crude oils by a process of refining, bleaching and deodorizing. Typical blended vegetable dough fats are solid at ambient temperature and melt over a wide temperature range. Most fats used in biscuit making are melted below body temperature, that's 37 degrees Celsius, and this avoids a waxy mouth feel. Butter is used for its shortening and flavor. The flavor of the butter is complemented by sugar and vanilla during baking and gives a distinctive flavor and aroma. Other ingredients used in biscuit are whole egg powder, lecithin, yeast, ammonium bicarbonate, sodium bicarbonate, monocalcium phosphate, salt, sodium acid pyrophosphate, sodium metabisulfite, proteolytic enzyme. Now let us discuss another part of our today's lecture, that is grouping of biscuits based on method. The taste and crispness of a biscuit depends upon the raw material used and method of making. Depending upon these two factors, there are different categories of biscuits, which include number 1. Pastry dough, number 2. Cream dough, number 3. Egg white mixture, number 4. Whisked egg dough, number 5. Doughs rich in honey and other sugar syrups. Number 1. Biscuits prepared from pastry dough. Both sweet and savory biscuits can be prepared from this dough. Two basic pastry doughs are used for making biscuits, and these are short crust dough and puff dough. The short crust dough consists of flour, fat and moistening liquid. Flour provides the bulk and fat contributes shortness to the biscuit. Number 2. Biscuits prepared from creamed dough. Creaming is the process of beating together butter and sugar so that air bubbles are forced into the batter. The aerated mixture is then moistened with eggs. Finally, flour is added to make the dough. Creamed dough provides many opportunities for imaginative shaping. It should be firm to be rolled out and cut with biscuit cutter into various attractive shapes like circles, hearts, diamonds, squares, etc. Biscuit cutters are used for getting these basic shapes. A less firm dough can be dropped from a spoon to produce chunky, irregular shapes. Further variations can be made by changing proportions of the basic mixture by increasing the quantity of egg or a few drops of flavoring essence or grated rind of citrus fruits or ground spices. Blend of raisins, nuts, currants can also be added. Number 3. Biscuits prepared with egg white mixture. Biscuits made from egg white mixture are light in texture, for example macaroons. When egg whites are lightly beaten, it becomes a loose foam which is used to bind dry ingredients. Nuts are often used as the basis of these mixtures, replacing the flour that provides the body of most biscuit dough. A blend of nuts and sugar moistened with sufficient egg white forms a batter which produces crisp light macaroons. These biscuits have a deliciously chewy texture. Number 4. Biscuits prepared from whisked egg dough. Whisked egg dough biscuits contain whole eggs, sugar and flour. Fats are optional. The quantity of flour varies based on preparation. By lowering the amount of flour, light biscuits can be made which require a high proportion of flour to make comparatively harder biscuits. Flavorings like lemon or orange rind, any seeds, flavored liquor or spices like cinnamon can be added to the dough. The domed surface is a characteristic feature of these biscuits. Number 5. Biscuits made from syrup and honey dough. Syrups are thick, sweet liquids like honey and molasses. These syrups provide extra sweetness, a warm brown color and a distinct flavor to the biscuits. In these doughs, brown sugar and certain spices like ginger, nutmeg, cinnamon, cardamom, etc. is used to get richer biscuits. Now let's discuss the steps involved in biscuit making. Number 1. Mixing and kneading. Weighed amount of sifting flour, sugar, shortening and flavoring agents are added and mixed. Water and baked powder are added and mixed continuously to obtain a dough or desired consistency. Optimum kneading of 10 to 20 minutes produces biscuits with fine structure, smooth crust and better appearance. Over kneading produces a compact, toughened product and under kneaded doughs give very tender biscuits, coarse in texture, small in volume and have a rough crust. Number 2. Sheeting and shaping. The dough is rolled into sheets of desired thickness by passing through pairs of rolls. The rolled dough sheets is cut by mechanically worked stamped divider fitted with dies. Number 3. Baking and cooling. The cut biscuits move forward on a continuous belt and transferred automatically to a continuous plate sheet or wire mesh bands traveling through the ovens. The length of ovens depends upon the production capacity. The biscuits are baked at 230 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes and cooled after baking. Number 4. Packaging. These biscuits should be packaged in moisture and grease-proof cellophane or metal foil laminated packaging. Now let's learn about types of biscuits. There are various types of biscuits and these include number 1. Cream crackers, number 2. Soda crackers, number 3. Savory or snack crackers, number 4. Water biscuits or matzos, number 5. Puff biscuits, number 6. Hard, sweet, semi-sweet and Garibaldi biscuit sandwich biscuits, number 7. Short dough biscuits. Now let's discuss them in detail. Number 1. Cream crackers. Cream cracker biscuits were first introduced in about 1885 by the Irish firm of Jacobs. Cream crackers have a simple unsweetened basic recipe of flour, fat and salt. This dough is always fermented with yeast and laminated prior to cutter and baking. The combination of flour protein modification achieved during fermentation and lamination gives rise to characteristic flaky and blistered biscuits. Number 2. Soda crackers. The soda cracker is a square biscuit about 50 into 50 mm area and 4 mm thick. Each biscuit weighs about 3 to 3.5 gram and the moisture content is about 2.5%. The biscuits are produced with scrapless cutters so that edges are white and broken after baking. Sodium bicarbonate is added as the cracker should be alkaline after baking. Number 3. Savory or snack crackers. This type of biscuit is salted, flavored and fat sprayed after baking. Depending upon their size, they are regarded as savory snacks, nibbles or biscuits from cheese. They are characterized by open textures and soft eating mouthfeel. Sometimes they may be cream sandwiched with a savory non-sweet cream based on cheese powder. Many savory crackers are decorated with poppy, sesame or celery seeds and garnished with salt. These materials are applied after cutting and before baking. All savory crackers are baked on some form of wire to allow maximum and quick development of structure. Number 4. Water biscuits and matzos. Matzos are made from flour and water only, and water biscuits have a little fat added. The shape of matzos varies, either conventionally round or rectangular like water biscuits or in larger sheets which are broken up by the consumer. Typically, the matzo recipe is about 100 parts of flour to 38 parts of water. This mixture is gently rolled together in a mixer to form a crumbly dough, then baked for a very short time in a very hot oven. Baking times of around 1 minute at 4000 degrees Celsius are common. Number 5. Puff biscuits. In puff biscuits, the dough is not fermented and is invariably cold and underdeveloped. The methods for distributing the fat in the dough determines the type of mixers and laminators needed. The eating quality of puff biscuits is determined very largely by the nature of fat used for laminating. Unlike puff pastry, for sausage rolls which are best eaten hot, puff biscuits are eaten cold. Puff biscuits may be used as unsweetened carriers for butter, cheese, jam, etc., or as shells for sweet or savory cream sandwiches. The molten sugar glaze frequently found on puff biscuits results from the sugar melted during baking. Number 6. Hard sweet, semi-sweet and Garibaldi fruit sandwich biscuit. All biscuits in this group are characterized by doughs which contain a well-developed gluten network with high amounts of sugar and fat. The gluten becomes less elastic and more extensible. The most common method of dough preparation involves vigorous or extended mixing to produce a developed dough. As a result of the mixing action, heat is developed. Dough is used at 35 to 40 degrees Celsius. Semi-sweet biscuits are basic biscuits and significant in the market due to its low cost, particularly in developing countries. Hard sweet biscuits has varieties of biscuits, cookies, crackers which differ in taste, shape, decoration and other unique features which bakers add to differentiate their uniqueness. The Garibaldi biscuit consists of currants squashed between two thin oblong biscuits, that is currant sandwich. It's popular with British consumers as a snack for nearly 150 years. The Garibaldi biscuit is conventionally consumed with tea or coffee, into which it may be soaked and eaten. Number 7. Short dough biscuits. Products in this group are made from a dough that lacks extensibility and elasticity. The structure of the baked biscuit consists of a mixture of protein, starch and sugar glass, that's super cold molten sugar. The texture is coarse. Many short doughs are formed with a rotatory molder. Based on quality of fat the flour is imparted to the biscuit. It is recommended that there are at least 15 to 20% fat solids at the dough temperature. That's all about today's lecture. Hope you have understood it well. Thank you very much and goodbye.